Yo, what's up, Bama Nation? Bama Nation, what's good? It's Coach Smook here with Kyle Henderson, the man himself. Man, make sure y'all run the likes up, jumping in on the show. Welcome into today's live, man. Kyle, how you feeling this morning, bro?
Man, feeling amazing. You down here at the beach. Actually about to go get some golf in today. And it's just like a par 3. I'm just like, honestly, we got here yesterday. The crazy thing is the weather getting down here was crazy. It rained the entire way. But as I was thinking about this morning, and I wanted to catch up with you on this, is like, what are the 5 biggest things that we have learned so far from spring practice? I know I have mine, and you were covering the offensive player interviews, so you can watch those on our YouTube channel. And that was some great stuff. I love getting the mindset to kind of open up. I saw, the interview with Kendrick Law, and Jam Miller, Justice Haynes, Milroe. So you were there, man, and we love having you in Tuscaloosa. Yeah. So let's kind of just like pop into it, man, and talk about the 5 biggest things. I was going to ask you yours, and then you could ask me mine, and we just kind of just like rapid fire. And we appreciate all you guys inside the Undefeated rocking with us today. So let us know where you guys are watching from. Run the thumbs up on all these videos, and let's get it going, Smook.
Yeah, man. So jumping into it, man, I kind of want to just you want to do back and forth, like I go one, then you go one, and then we just go that way?
For sure, 100%.
Yeah. So if we're going to go there, man, something that I think we should really jump on quick, because, this has been the hot topic of the offseason. Mm-hmm. Jalen Milroe's progress. Where is Jalen Milroe stand? Mm-hmm. What does he look like? Mm-hmm. And Kyle, you know I've been there. We've been talking. So it's his job, man. And it's not because he's just the senior guy. This young man has been getting like a lot of high draft grades. They're projecting Jalen Milroe late first round right now. Mm-hmm. Like, people were talking, there was 2 scouts there yesterday, and they were really just like, talking about his progression. His coach Mitch, his throwing coach, QB coach, the guy that works with him for his quarterback throwing and the throwing workouts.
Yeah.
He was just explaining how quick Jalen Milroe is able to process things and add them to, what the workout is. Usually you have guys that come in and they need a workout to be taught, and then they see it on the next workout. Yep. Jalen Milroe is a teach me now, I'm doing it now type guy. Mm-hmm. And Jamarcus Shepard, Nick Sheridan, and even Kalen DeBoer early in the presser, he highlighted to it. So knowing Milroe is that dude, and it's not just because he's Milroe, but because he's actually doing the work. It's a good sign, man. How's that make you feel hearing that? Because I know we solid Milroe supporters. We just wanted him to be successful. So hearing that, what's that feel like?
Look, what was interesting about the interview yesterday is the fact that people were talking about the fact that Jalen Milroe was straight up telling us there were people begging him inside to jump into the transfer portal. They wanted to lure him away from the University of Alabama following this season. Any program would be lucky to have a prospect like Jalen Milroe coming back with the experience. Clearly, coming back into 2024, he is a player that is continuing to work on his craft. Yeah. And when you look to this quarterback room, and I was talking about this, yesterday, it's a better quarterback room than it was last year. And somebody made a good point. They were like, well, it's only Tyler Buckner that left. But also you had Eli Holstein who left. And so I was like, that's a fair point. But then I was thinking about it. I was like, actually, I feel better with my point because Jalen Milroe has so much more experience. Look at where Ty Simpson is. He had some time to spot play. Dylan Lonergan is now, 2 years within the program. And then you have Austin Mack coming in. And honestly, look, I feel that Austin Mack is a better quarterback than Eli Holstein. I feel that Austin Mack and Julian Saint, I don't know where Julian Saint, I haven't seen any footage. And I did like Julian Saint. I have to agree that I did like him. But for the quarterbacks right now, just having 4, I love where they are. And I think that Jalen Milroe is that guy. He has taken the first team reps and not trying to drive any type of like narrative that like, it's just like, he's a guy.
It's just the truth.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
I'm going to ask you this. Why do people who are doubting Milroe, why do they believe Milroe can't get better? We've seen millions of quarterbacks before him have a sophomore slump or have a bad year. Joe Burrow, to be the most recent, that's what keeps popping up in my mind. Joe Burrow, his improvement from year 1 to year 2. He had a different coordinator that second year. Like it totally, the light just turned on. why can't Miro get the benefit of the doubt? You know what I'm saying? Not just him, but man, I was watching some footage yesterday and listening to some things, man. Austin Mack is not everything that everybody think he is. He has a lot to work on, which is why he chose to continue to follow Kalen DeBoer. It wasn't presumed that he was going to be a starter or be able to compete for starting. Like, he knows that he can develop under Kalen DeBoer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, the more footage we see, you guys are going to see that. But why do people feel like Miro can't get better?
That's a damn good question. Another thing that I was thinking about too is not only is the quarterback room better this year, but I feel that the quarterback coaches are better this year than they were last year.
There are quarterback coaches. That's the thing. We didn't have any last year.
Thank you. And that was the thing that I was getting at is like, look, Tommy Rees, you know, was kind of, I mean, it kind of caught my ear was like when he was doing his press conference last year and he's like, I think of myself more as an offensive lineman. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like,
that's weird.
Wait, offensive lineman. Okay, like you're a dog, like you're in the trenches, but who the hell is going to develop these quarterbacks? Right.
Yeah.
So now that you have Jalen Milroe working with Coach Mitch, working with Nick Sheridan, a guy who played the position, Coach Kalen DeBoer, a guy who has experience working with the quarterbacks and is an offensive-minded guy. You have Jamarcus Shepard to help with that passing game coordinator. Yeah. I mean, think about it. Like, now you have guys to develop this room. And I'll say this again. Jalen Milroe has had 4 guys that he's had to work with over the last,
3? Let's say 5.
Yeah.
Let's say 5 to be honest. Like, he said that in a conversation before the interview.
Yeah.
He was when he was revealing about, man, if I'm gonna say UGA, Missouri, Florida, Ohio State, Texas, USC, all of these teams were after him. These are names verbatim that he was saying before he got up for the interview. And it's no secret. Like, it'll be out soon. It's no secret. And the amount of money that was being thrown at him. So to stick it out, it just tells you that he's really bought into what he's developed. Look at that pass, man. I mean, just look at that. The hip. It's not and just for all the people that were doubting and trying to come at us about, saying that his throwing motion hasn't changed. I mean, has changed. He even answered yesterday, my throwing motion hasn't changed. It's the small things, the mechanics that I'm working on that's allowing me to get better, every day. So, no, my throwing motion hasn't changed. All you got to do is watch the interview. The young man, he's coached not to change his throwing motion. So I'm excited to hear everything that's surrounding Milroe, man. And but another thing you were alluding to, and it's probably one of your takeaways, is Coach Sheridan, man. That guy surprised me yesterday, brother. He surprised me, man.
Yeah, well, let me. So you went off and you let off. Your first point was Milroe, and I had your back on that, and we kind of went through that. I want to talk about my one, and the whole premise of this video is 5 things that each of us have learned or that have stood out from spring practice. So Smook led off with Milroe, and a really good point. I am going to lead off with the running back room, and I think that this running back room, and this is not disrespect to any of the running backs that I'm not going to mention, but Alabama has one of the most dangerous 1-2 punches in the country in Jam Miller and Justice Haynes. Okay. What I've been able to see in 3 short practices, and from gathering the information from like Smook talking to him yesterday, seeing them at practice, talking to people close to the program, Justice Haynes is that guy. Jam Miller, we know he is that guy. Those 2 together on the field are going to be thunder and lightning, whatever you want to call it, for the college football season. When you talk top tandems in the world of college football, and I love tandems. I think Alabama has some really good tandems at running back and I think at the linebacker position. But Jam Miller and Justice Haynes are going to be that guy this season. No, not like driving this high expectation. Like, that is 100% the truth. What you got on that, Smoke? Because I think you could feel it as well.
Yeah. So those 2 are really bought into balancing each other out. That's the primary thing I got from Justice. Because you know how the interviews work, man. They threw us a curveball, chat. Like, we thought we were going to get the same spacing on the field and all that stuff, but they had recruits there, so they were really trying to be tight about media being exposed to them. So when they brought him up to the media room, the press conference room, we were, you had Milroe at the podium, then you had Booker and Kendrick, then Jam and Justice. All of them were in there at the same time. So the spots that I did get were perfect because it's things that you all been asked about. Justice Haynes, his commitment to Alabama. I don't know if y'all saw the clip, but he's locked in, man. He feels like God put him there. He's on purpose there. It's his destiny to be there. And to have a big brother like Jam right there next to him, you know, those two, I mean, similar builds, similar styles of play. You know, they're both buying into their roles. Jam, the Justice is really ready to be the every down back. Jam is ready to spell Justice. Like, in so many words, that's what they were saying. Like, well, if he's hot, he got it. If he's hot, he got it. You know, I'm gonna support him. And they both just eager. Coach Gillespie said something important too, Kyle. And I wanted to get your thoughts on this. With the running backs, he said this is the first time he's had a running back room where all the running backs do everything good.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, in so many words, that's what he was saying. In a long time, he said it's been a while since all the running backs. And think about all the running backs that we've had recently: Jace McClellan, Roydell Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, they were all in the room at the same time.
Yeah.
So for him to be saying something like that, it creating some buzz, man.
Yeah, I love, and if you guys ask me, like my studio today, like I am at the beach here in Rosemary. So I'm down here on 30A. I'll be here until Thursday. So we still will be having the daily show and news as it happens. We have Smook in Tuscaloosa. You know, you have a basketball game taking place at 11 a.m. today. So as coverage comes in, we have you covered. I know it's a really big recruiting weekend, and Smook dropped a great video talking about recruiting, which you can watch right here on Bama Football on YouTube. And we see you, Jor, with a crystal ball from Steve Whitfong. So, you know, as news happens, or if there's a commitment that breaks, Smook, you know what to do, man. You bring it to everybody right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Talking about our key points and what we have learned from spring football thus far. Smook started out with Milroe. I went with the running backs, and Coach Smook was in Tuscaloosa yesterday. I was driving down here to the beach, but he had an opportunity to talk with Robert Gillespie. Think about the running backs that Robert Gillespie has had in the past. Absolute ballers. He's about to send another guy to the NFL now in Jace McClellan. But when you look to this particular running back room, one of the things that I think that people forget about this system is that running backs eat, and that running backs that can catch the football are very effective. So you look at Washington's running back last year, did a really great job, ran for over 1,000 yards. And now when you have Jam and Justice, and of course, Richard Young is certainly going to get his as well. When you have this much talent, you're only one play away from like playing. Then you have Daniel Hill, and of course you have Kevin Riley as well in that running back room. So all over with Robert Gillespie, I think that is it might be one of the stronger units going into like after spring season. We kind of break everything down. I really like the running back room, and Robert Gillespie, complete baller. I love, he's an assistant head coach. That's his title. Like, I mean, that's major weight. Okay, so I had Milroe. You had running backs. What is your next point? We're talking 5 points that we have learned from spring football after 3 practices so far. He's Coach Smook, Kyle Henderson, both of Bama Football on YouTube. Go ahead, Smook.
So I think it's only fair we just kind of stay on the offensive side since we, just started on that side. I did quarterback, you did running back. Offensive line, let's go there, And so I didn't get any footage with Tyler Booker. His interview, like, people were so like adamant about getting the Tyler Booker, and he's one of those guys. He's going to give you like 6 minutes of answering every time. Say he wants to go. So I was kind of like, okay, we've seen Booker a lot. Let's get some of the new faces that we haven't seen in the media. And I was able to go over to Coach Cap, and Coach Cap talking about his transition in here. It was it's been a test, but he's glad for spring break. But when he was asked about the tackle position, that's an area that we've been worrying about. One name that came up first, Wilkin Formby at right tackle is doing doing an amazing job. Right now, it's sounding as if we only have competition at the left tackle position. James Brockemeyer has been working in reps with the first team, but Parker Brailsford has been also. It's spring, so it's just familiarity right now, introductionary period. But a consistent look has been Formby, Roberts at guard. Then left guard is Tyler Booker. You've been having a nice rotation at center. And at left tackle, I've seen Elijah Pritchard there. I've seen Miles McVay there. I've seen Ionota there. I've seen, it's been guys, but Wilkin Formby has been the consistent at right tackle. So I'm excited to see that. That lets me know that he's developing. Coach Cap is starting to get through to these guys early in this whole transition, right? The identity that they want to set is being able to be athletic and be dominant in space, right? Because this is an offense that's going to use offensive linemen in space, getting guys, pin pull run schemes. The power run game is going to be there. Even Jam Miller, he alluded to the fact that he's excited about running behind this new look offensive line in this new scheme. So that was one of the takeaways I took. Coach Cap has a lot of confidence on those interior guys, very confident about Formby, and they're really like using the spring to, kind of develop and shore up that left tackle position.
One of the biggest things that stood out for me yesterday from the interviews was, and I actually wrote this down, so our points are blended on this one, because I wrote that Coach Kapilovic was talking about competition at the offensive line positions, and he was specifically talking about center in this kind of quote, and he was talking about Brockemeyer and Brailsford, and he said, and I think this goes for the entire group, quarterbacks on the defensive side, everybody, right? Competition makes the product so much better, right? If there's a guy ahead of you, you guys have played sports. Yesterday, I was running. We went on a 5-mile run. Okay, there was a guy ahead of me. Guess what that did? That made me try to catch him. Did I? No, because he was a better runner than me. But my point is, and if somebody's behind you, you ever look behind you and someone's running?
Yeah.
So my point is, competition is what makes the entire room better, whether that's the offensive line. So can you imagine Parker Brailsford? I love this, okay? I still feel that Parker Brailsford is going to be the guy. But can you imagine he gets here and maybe he thought, I have no idea. I haven't talked to Parker. Maybe he's like, all right, go over there to be the center at Alabama. And you get here and you're like, all right, man, rep with the twos. And you're like, oh, no, You're like, no. Like, just wait. Okay. You're like, all right, coach, whatever you need me to do. But inside, that hunger is like, all right, so it creates a competition. And James Brockemeyer is like, hey, man, welcome to Tuscaloosa. I'm the center. And I'm going to do every single thing I can to retain that position. Because last year, when I looked at the inconsistencies of this position, I want to prove that I should have been playing. So, so that right there gets those, and those guys are teammates. But my point is, you create competition, and that makes the best player is then going to have to play. Period.
Exactly. And Brockemeyer came here highly touted. You have to wonder.
And he's repping his name. The Brockemeyer name, like Tommy Brockemeyer left. So like their dad played in the league, played at Texas legacy. So that lineage, the Brockemeyer name is like, that's a big name in college football. So he's got to rep his name as well.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you. And the thing is, they're both quality centers. That's the thing. You want to see these guys develop. So if both of them have a chip on their shoulder to come in every day and not be complacent, that's one thing that was highlighted in Coach Cap's comments too. The lack of complacency is a great thing. When you have a no complacency amongst your group, I mean the third string guys, you got walk-ons out there really trying to put hats on hats on helmets, right? And give good looks. Like, I mean, effort is above and beyond right now, especially. The offensive line works, Kyle. Those guys work during practice. Yeah. You remember the clips we seen? Those guys, they move more than some of the other position groups. As far as movement during their, not a lot of standing around. You could tell when they about to take their break. Hands are on hips after 15 minutes of rep and stuff. So I mean, this is a solid group, man. And to have the amount of competition, we always talk about how many guys we had, right? We just weren't sure about how they would continue to develop. I think this energy around them, man, is more so of guys wanting to prove that they're worth it. And I believe we have a lot of valuable guys on that front line.
We appreciate all of you guys inside the Undefeated. Kevin, I just read your message, man. I'm sorry that happened to you. Kevin is one of our great fan funders. And our thoughts and prayers are with you. So you can scroll up to read. Looks like he's going to be okay, but we need you, Kevin, inside the Undefeated, man. So you're good, man, and glad that you're back inside the Undefeated. And to everybody who has a green icon, that means that you guys support us. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. So we appreciate you guys being part of the Undefeated. How do you do that? Become a fan funder for only $2.99. If you guys have liked the coverage, if you guys like everything, we are not backed by an organization. We are not salary type employees. So like you guys supporting us us makes the YouTube channel go. Honestly, we're not part of On3 or Rivals or 24/7 or Tuscaloosa News or the university. Like, we are independent. So we appreciate you guys. And this channel is powered by viewers like you right here on Bama Football on YouTube. So we're talking about our 5 biggest takeaways before this Alabama basketball game, which is on at 11. We appreciate you guys. I'm down here at the beach. Coach Smook is in Tuscaloosa. And just like Chris says, run the thumbs up on this particular video. We appreciate you guys kind of trading our 5 things that we've learned. And Smook went with number 1, Jalen Milroe. I went with Justice Jam, and then our second points were kind of blended on Coach Cap, the competition at the offensive line position. All right, I go back to you, Smook, with your point number 3. What you got in terms of what you have learned after 3 practices so far?
Oh. So am I going with point 3?
Yeah, you're point 3. Yep.
Let's go. Last thing with the offense, and I think this is something that me and you both are excited about, having our experience at the position, right? Caleb Odom in the wide receiver room.
That was my point 3. Was Caleb Odom. So
you can take it, bro. You can take it for real. Go, you lead, and I'll feed off you. I promise. I can bounce off of that one.
All right. So look, our point 3 is this: Caleb Odom. I'm not going to be playing around. Like, the 2 guys that, like, there was 3 guys that jumped out at wide receiver, and the wide receivers were really far down on the field. But I saw Kendrick Law coming out of his routes, and I was like, dude looks like he's in the NFL. I saw Kobe Prentice snatching the ball, and then I saw Caleb Odom, okay? And he's the tallest wide receiver. He's the biggest guy. He is like that guy. And so many times we come in and we hype up these freshmen. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just telling you what I saw. I think he is going to be an impact player right away. I think that Ryan Williams and him are 2 of the most talented freshmen in the country. Caleb Odom blew me away. I liked everything about him. I love the fact that he's moving from tight end to wide receiver. It makes a lot of sense to me. I think he's going to catch a lot of balls. I think he's going to be put in a really good place based off the fact that Jamarcus Shepard will be able to kind of elevate his game to be an aggressive style of player along with his playmaking abilities. And I cannot wait to see more of Caleb Odom, because I think he is going to be that guy this year within the wide receivers. Now, look, it's a hungry room. There's so many guys to choose from. Emmanuel Henderson, Jeremy Bernard. I don't want to sleep on any of those guys. Jalen Hell, he also looks good. I'm just telling you that Caleb Odom, honestly, he looked the part. He is number 18. So when you're watching some of this B-roll film, and I have another video that kind of has 2 quick, clips of him. But yeah, he really stood out. Smook.
So you talked about Caleb. I brought him up.
Yep.
But somebody that he was very, appreciative of in this process, in that wide receiver room, and that Coach Shepard even highlighted, was Kendrick Law.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Kendrick Law, Jeremy Bernard are like the leaders in that room. Those guys, man, they come with the same energy, right? Jeremy Bernard and Kendrick Law might be best friends. The way that, for real, man, it's been that type of vibe amongst them, because Jeremy Bernard comes in, and one thing that I want to say about every wide receiver in this room right now is that the fact they're taking on, they're not trying to hold Jeremy Bernard out as if he got to prove himself and become a part of this fraternity or whatever. Everything that he's bringing to the table about his knowledge with this offense, Jamarcus Shepard has even been able to see it and witness. You got guys, they're meeting up and they're having conversations and breaking this offense down, because kids want to play. Everybody wants to play. And in this offense, Coach Kalen DeBoer, Coach Jamarcus Shepard, they want to get a lot of bodies on the field. We're going to see a lot of rotation, because like you said, Kyle, there's so many dogs. There's so many dogs. One room that I'm not worried about losing, any like the top 8 or 9 of into the portal or anything like that. You losing the guy is the wide receiver room. They're happy. The agenda to rotate these guys, get everybody's skill set out there, because you have so many different skill sets. You can't game plan for 9 different skill sets at the wide receiver position. Because at any time, we could throw out a new group of 3, a new group of 4, a new group of 5, and you're going to have to defend it in space. And you're not going to be able to defend a one-on-one against Caleb Odom and then another one-on-one against Jeremy Bernard on the outside. You're going to have to you're going to have to give up something. You're not going to be able to defend Emmanuel Henderson and Kendrick Law lining up in slot together. Or if you trips, you put Odom, Law, and Hale in a bunch set together and split them out wide. What are you going to do with that? Even you get what I'm saying? Like, it's so many opportunities, and you can see the energy in Jamarcus Shepard when he talks about his receivers, man. And those guys are starting to adapt that energy. I was able to kind of dialogue with them. Of course, I don't know what it is, man. Couldn't get my question out yesterday. I don't know if y'all seen the camera moving during Jamarcus Shepard interview, but that's me trying to raise my hand and he looked at me. The last 3 questions he was asked, Kyle, he looked at me expecting me to get an opportunity to answer some question. But I like this wide receiver room, man. Probably we talked about running backs being the most solid. This is probably the group with the highest ceiling on the offensive side, the wide receiver room.
Yep. Cicero, what's up, man? He's asking about what time is my man Coach Jay coming on? Also, my guys, Coach Sean and Jake. So this is how the schedule works. So on the weekends, we kind of we piece it together on the weekends because the guys are off. Usually they're off on Sundays, and on Saturdays we kind of just play it based on the schedule of what is happening. How we cover football in March is going to be different from how we cover football in June or during the season. Now, during the season, it's a full court press because it's like game day, right? Sunday is actually a really heavy day, but in the evening time. Sunday in the morning, a lot of people, most of our staff on here goes to church. And it's just, it's a lower time. So we kind of base it based off that. And Merrill he's actually moving from Washington to Florida. So he will be back on March 18th. Ty is off on the weekends. He is open to us from Monday through Friday in the mornings. And Coach Sean, he works his full-time job Monday through Thursdays, and he's available for us on Fridays. And sometimes on the weekends, he has kids, just like I have kids. He's off on the evening time. So that's kind of how we dictate it. And Smook is now full-time here at Bama Football on YouTube. So all right. And so it's kind of just explaining the staff, but appreciate you guys being here. All right, so we got a couple more things to dive into. Isaiah Bond.
Jarvis.
Well, what's amazing, look, Isaiah Bond is a great wide receiver, but as you can see, things didn't, like, I think sometimes in life you think, like, if I left here, like, the world would just stop. No. You leave, like, especially at Alabama football, like, nothing changed.
Somebody else stepping.
Somebody like, all right, dude, see ya. They put his helmet. What was crazy, they put his helmet on
the dummy.
And they were smashing it. Like, nothing changed. Look, and this is crazy. This is how insignificant we really are. Okay, like, things moved forward without Coach, like, with Saban not there anymore. Like, they're just going. So, sometimes, like,
real quick,
ego out the door because a team in life moves on regardless of what you're doing.
Whew. You said something so special. Even seeing the amount of recruits visiting yesterday.
Yeah.
We had 20 confirmed, like, eligible recruits, like people that can be offered.
Mm-hmm.
There was a total of 70 plus. Like, I think they ended up saying official 76, but it was 70 plus recruits there. Like, you got 7th graders all the way up to, upcoming seniors in high school. I saw so many families walking around, man, and so many kids.
So you mean that the brand hasn't been flushed down the toilet?
That's the funny thing. Like, who would have thought? Like, Coach Saban retired. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, people just this whole mindset of Alabama falling off is crazy to me. And the players are kind of appalled. Like, they laughing about it too. They laugh like, y'all really think because Coach Saban left, he was just the coach. Like, he wasn't out there making any tackles. He wasn't out there calling any. He didn't call any offensive plays. He didn't call in everything that we enjoyed last year with this team and everything that we did. And like, it was not a direct result of Coach Saban. You get what I'm saying? Everything had to be played out. These results are actions that have to be put in place, right? And the people committing those actions are these players that Coach Saban was able to recruit to this team. He doesn't play for them, so they have to do it. But then they were one game away from a national. A great group of this team was one game away from a national championship last year.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, so Coach Saban, what he was able to do here, it was like he was able just to build this incredible foundation and this incredible brand, and that is going to last. Like, good things last, right? And that's what you're seeing here. And look, if you come in and you're like, oh, they're playing music at practice, things are going to change. Just because something is different doesn't mean it's not going to work, right? Like,
Right.
this is that under Coach Saban, that worked. This looks like it's going to work. I'm serious. It's only been 3 practices. It's only been a week. It's been, I don't even know if it's been 60 days since Coach Kalen DeBoer has been hired. But it looks like it's going to work. Is recruiting working? Looks like it's working.
I mean, at an all-time high.
Right?
All-time high.
Yeah, Chris,
Kyle,
what's up, man?
real quick note.
You, man. Yeah, he's coming to us from Panama City. I was actually looking at one of my workout groups is in Panama City. Panama City was probably like 45 minutes, and T was like, "Don't you go?
Don't even dare."
I was like,
"Oh man!" But Kyle, with the recruiting thing, man, 17. That was a 7-on-7 team there as a team, right? 17 players on this team are 5 stars. There are 17 5 stars on this team. Like 9 of them are committed somewhere already. They were walking around the establishment as if, like, man, maybe. Yeah. maybe, because Coach Shepard talking to the wide receivers, I got good reports about that. Was able to see Travis Smith Jr., able to see him. I think he's got, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can't speak just yet, but yeah. And just things of that nature, man. It's just the whole energy, like you was talking about for weeks now. We've been talking about it. The energy at the campus is different, man. It's different when it comes to that football program. And it's a good thing. Seems like it's going in a positive direction. But is your turn to make another point, man?
So we have another couple points to kind of go back. So I'm keeping track of them. You had Milroe, we had Coach Cap, and then we both agreed on point 3. Sometimes, what's up, man? You can get it up, Smook. I think we at the same time, man. What's up, man? Go ahead and read it out, Coach.
Keontae Plummer. With the $20 super chat says, give Saban his flowers. I remember when Alabama wasn't that good. I agree, 100%. Appreciate that $20 super chat, man. We definitely appreciate you always supporting the channel. It doesn't go unnoticed. Thank you. What
I like about this, though, is like I think that people felt that when Saban left, it would just crumble. That's why we had so many people and so many trolls. Remember when we were breaking all this news, they're like, oh, the castle's going to, completely burn down and all this stuff. Like, now look where Alabama is still. Right? Like, and that doesn't mean that like he just got wiped away. Saban, what he did is he's moving on to this other position in life that could, I don't know, save college football. Did you know next week he's going to Washington, D.C. with Greg Byrne, and he's been invited to a college football roundhouse to talk with like the head people of, I don't know what D.C. is going to do, but basically like this is how far off the rails college football is. So Saban has now positioned himself like the college football commissioner. So I still think that he left his ultimate love to go save his ultimate love. Do you see what I'm saying? Like the game of college football. That's just my take. Okay, so back to the 5 things that we've learned. All right, and I know the basketball game's coming up, so we won't keep you guys that long today. Plus, I'm trying to get out to this golf course that isn't too far from here. But I'm going to go on the defensive side. I know most of this video has been about the offense, so maybe we'll come back and talk more about the defense tomorrow. And for those of you who are like, man, you're on vacation, you still like do your stream. Honestly, if I was a billionaire, like this is what I would do this. Like I would be like, perfect. Now I have time to do Bama football on YouTube. Honestly, like I like doing it.
Me too, man.
I set my stuff up. The kids are hanging out. Like T's here. My mom is here. Like this is
everybody saying hey too, man.
Yeah. So like this is what I do anyways. This is like vacation for me. So, but I think on the defensive side, one of the things that I wanted to point out, and I have a bunch of footage that I've been chopping up of like first look at like first time players. We're starting to see a bunch of Keon Sabb and Damani Jackson. These guys, I think, are it. And we haven't seen 11 on 11. They haven't had a scrimmage, but I think the addition of these two to the secondary, an area that, let's face it, was clearly depleted after Coach Saban left, after T-Rob left, after Terran Arnold left, after Kool-Aid left, after all these prospects left and, transferred elsewhere or whatever. Alabama needed some guys to come in. And sure, the anchors in the secondary are going to be Malachi Moore. You have Devontae Smith, who provides experience from just being at Alabama. I know he hasn't had his chance to really shine, but I think this is, I kind of get the feeling early on that Damani Jackson, and probably more so Keon Sabb, is going to be like an absolute baller this coming season. Coach, have you been kind of getting that same sense from the secondary with Sabb and Damani Jackson?
Yeah, especially Damani Jackson. Especially, this was a guy that I was very critical of. Everybody in the chat knows I've been very critical of this young man because I know the type of talent he is, right? It just was never put on film at USC. But you can see a different energy about him, man. He's a leader. He's really stepping up and becoming a leader for that young cornerback room. But opposite of him, he has somebody that's supporting him that's been there for a few years, and that's Jaleel Hurley. You know, we're not talking about Jaleel a lot because, you know, talking to some of the people around the staff that came over from Saban area, Jaleel Hurley never got a real opportunity under Coach T-Rob. A lot of those guys didn't get a real opportunity. We asked the question, why isn't Earl Little playing? Why isn't this person playing? Why isn't Des Reese getting some reps? Well, come to find out, a lot of that had to do with T-Rob. And y'all got to remember, Jaleel Hurley was like the number four corner in his class. So how do you feel as a number? Like, I believe, honestly, if we had not got the hire of Mo Lindquist, right, who was, to a lot of these recruits, you're going to hear them say he's the reason why I stayed. A lot of these secondary guys are going to say Maurice Lindquist is big reason why they decided to stay, you know, and he has the energy. He's going to give guys opportunity. You're seeing a healthy rotation between those 7 cornerbacks that we have on the roster right now.
Yeah.
I think it's 7, 6, you know, but you're seeing a healthy rotation. And Sabb at safety, free safety, like I predicted, man. That's the perfect spot for him in this scheme. Like you said, you got your veterans coming back in Malachi Moore and Devontae Smith, keeping them close to the line of scrimmage, allowing them to be in position to do what they do best, and that's run support, come up and support the run game, play short underneath coverages with over top help, and a guy that's rangy like Keon Sabb. The thing about Sabb is, man, he's not talking a lot. He's just out there putting in work.
Yeah.
Like, everything he's doing is like immaculate. I mean, immaculate. The dropbacks in his drills, the way he attacks the ball in the air on the find the ball drills, the way he's pursuing on these turn and go drills, like everything that these DBs are doing. There you go, right there, breaking up a pass. Nice break up, using the lead hand to, you know, technique is there. So I love seeing what we're seeing. Another name that I think you want to talk about and that you probably be excited to hear is Red Morgan. Red Morgan is creating some crazy stock for himself, but it's all under the tutelage of those guys, you know, being leaders for him. Sabb definitely is a big effect on him. And I'm excited for this secondary with those two being an addition to that room.
So as we talk about this Alabama secondary, honestly, Coach Smook and I have had the opportunity now at Alabama to talk with Mo Lindquist. I'm telling you, from the jump, you understand quickly how big of an addition this was to the coaching staff, to the University of Alabama, the experience that he has, and how really infectious his personality is. Completely personable. The mindset of him, you can, like, this guy is a guy who coached in the NFL, who helped Trayvon Diggs transform his game, but so did Coach Saban, right? A guy that coached at the college level, the NFL level, and now having him in Tuscaloosa, along with Colin Hitchler, working with that secondary, man, you got to be excited about it. And you know what? The type of personality that I think Shepard has and that Mo Lindquist have, I think that those guys are going to just impact recruiting. And you guys have seen how amped up Womack is. So when these guys come into Tuscaloosa, imagine if you were able to get, if you were let's say if you're in 2025, right, a prospect, and you're here today, and you're getting to meet all of the new coaches and all the new coaching staff, and you came also last year at this time.
Yeah.
Look, there's a big difference from the mindset and the attitude from meeting Coach Kevin Steele, who is a wonderful defensive coordinator, to now seeing the new energy of Kane Womack. Look, Kevin Steele is a no-nonsense guy. You don't even have to say a lot. Right. He's that old school mentality, and he was a hell of a defensive coordinator, probably the best since Alabama has had since Pruitt or Kirby Smart. right? Like that's how talented he was as a
Yeah.
defensive coordinator. But in terms of like the energy level, I think that Womack, I think that Mo Lindquist, you come in and they are probably the same age as some of the parents as well that have the
Yep.
prospects here.
Yep.
And look, when you are the same age as somebody, you kind of have that pure level of respect. You know how it is, like everybody out there, you know how it is. So having your kids show up at I bet you it's a huge change from 2025 prospects that are getting here and visiting with the coaches as opposed to when these prospects from a year ago.
Kyle, one thing that you were alluding to, and I'm gonna hit the super chat before I get into it. He said Odom at wide receiver, who is 6'5", is going to be a matchup problem for opposing defenses. I can't wait to see how they utilize him. Kevin Lynch, you absolutely right. And because you super chatted, I think we can circle back around that in the closing statements and kind of expound on it a little bit more. But Kyle was so hype about Caleb Odom the first day. Do you remember the first viewing practice, Kyle? We got to go out there and actually view. We go in back inside, and Kyle, that was the first thing he said. Caleb Odom is the best player on the team. Like he just straight up
he looked. I mean, I saw him.
And
he
it wasn't
up and just snatched this ball out. I was like,
hey, Kyle, but you weren't the only one saying that. It was like everybody, even the recruits that were on the sideline visiting Wednesday, they were just raving about Caleb Odom. Everybody was talking about Caleb Odom. I mean, all beat writers, everybody. Yeah. You can't go and look at anybody's outlets right now that cover the Alabama football team, and they haven't mentioned Caleb Odom.
Everybody has a story on him today.
Yes, right now, and it's the reason why. And everybody thought Ryan Williams was going to be the Julio. I think we might have Julio and Caleb, but let's not get on that side. I almost got sidetracked. But getting back to your point about the defense, man. Like you said, I made a post about Kane Womack's video that he posted during practice. Yeah. That was cool, and people try to take it as if I was taking a shot at Coach Saban. I was like, no, Coach Saban had his ways, and his ways were starting to evolve and phase out. Like we were falling behind in the recruiting game. You had to go and find you had to go and get the exact dude. It was no like he might be. No, we were starting to have to go and get exact dudes. Like right now, you're opening up your doggone barn and you're letting them come through and look at all these horses, right? All this type equipment, and they like, man, I want to try and get on this. I may want to take a lap on this. Like that's what a lot of kids are saying right now. I may want to take a year and give Alabama a chance because of the portal. These kids can do that. They can come to Alabama as a true freshman and not play 100 reps a game and still have NIL. So it's a good place to be in right now.
So look at it from this perspective too. And I kind of tie this back to about like Coach Saban and where he is from like an energy level. Still has it clearly. Look at all the things that he's doing.
72 though,
and
man.
He looks amazing and he's doing all his things. But have you ever had a well-respected, like your grandfather figure who just knows everything? He's like your G, right? He's taught you how to be in the lab with whether it's like working on vehicles or showing you something on the grill, whatever. Have you had kind of a really like tenured uncle that you have as well, who's also like that guy who is starting to kind of hit his peak in life? Like that's who kind of like these coaches are starting to be. So there's nothing wrong with Coach Saban and his style of doing things. And no one would ever forget what he's done for Alabama. It's just like this new energy coming in. These guys are ready. It is their time to shine. And everybody has a time in life. And it's these guys' time. Coach Kalen DeBoer, it's his time. He's at a really good age. He's had a lot of good experience. And now he's ready to compete at the ultimate level, which is the SEC. And he is going to have that opportunity. And you're right, Buck. Think about this. Coach Saban still had the number 2 class.
Number 2 class, yes.
Going forward, people are going to look at recruiting. And I think and I've always said this, recruiting in my mind has changed. I don't necessarily put a lot of stock in like the 2025 guys. Not to say that they're like not important, but it's the transfer portal game now. And this will continue to change like throughout because it's more about those guys are immediate needs. Whereas and how college football is now structured with NIL and the transfer portal, I don't know if and that's why I think people have such a hard time like donating maybe to like some of these collectives like Yay Alabama or whatever, which I think is great, but you're putting money in, and how long is this player going to be here?
Right.
And that's just, and it's nobody's fault. Like it's probably the NCAA because they haven't developed rules and parameters around that, but the game has changed, and this new energy I think is really good for Alabama. And It's really good to see all these prospects come in, and I guarantee you there's so much energy, and I bet you the parents who were here last year to this year are leaving, and they're just like, man, like something's really good is happening still at Alabama.
Kyle, it was said, Caleb Cunningham, top wide receiver in the country right now out of Mississippi. The young man said he didn't want to leave when he came for his visit. He wanted to stay. He wanted to be there this weekend with a lot of these classmates coming out with him, so he can, kind of see what their energy was like, because his was changed. He want, that's a good thing to have, bro. Like, I don't think, and see, a lot of people think I'm making statements to kind of discredit Saban, but no, I'm saying if Saban was able to do it and bow out like he did, just imagine how much better it's going to be for Kalen DeBoer. He set him up for it. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's not anything special that Kalen DeBoer is doing. It's like he's taking the platform that he was, stepped onto. Mm-hmm. The base is such a high standard. Now he fits right into it. So it's going to be easy for him to take it to the next level. You don't want it to stay the same as Coach Saban. You don't want it to be the same as what Coach Saban was doing. You want it to get better. And that's what we're expecting it to get better. And we're seeing some early signs.
All right, let's. So we have the basketball game, as Kevin said, here at 11 a.m. between Alabama and Arkansas. So let's make some closing statements and get people to the basketball game. High Power TV has now been a member for 4 months right here on Bama Football on YouTube. We really appreciate you. Thank you for being a fan funder, and to everybody inside the comment box and part of the Undefeated. If you are a member, a fan funder, we really appreciate you. If you're watching, we really appreciate you. Hit the thumbs up on all these videos and look for more content from Coach Smoot, from myself, from all of our staff, Coach Sean, Coach Jarek, Ty, of course, Mel, and of course, T behind the scenes. All of us make up Bama Football on YouTube. But let's make some closing remarks as we get people to their basketball game. Coach, I'm going to ask you, what are 2 things, not 3, not 5, just 2 things that you're watching for spring football, kind of as we get, because what's going to happen now, we go on spring break and then they come back and they have practice on the 19th again. But what are we looking like? What are kind of some items that you are watching as we've had 3 practices and now we go to practice number 4? What are 2 things that you're watching?
One thing, I'm gonna go offensive defense. Defensive side, I'm looking at starting to see personnel in depth. That's what I'm gonna start paying attention to, because you're going into the week where you're going to get into pads, right? And schematics are really the first phase of everything is over with now. The first 3 days is introductory. They go through their different sessions. So I'm looking for a depth chart now on defensive side, especially at the outside linebacker position. Been hearing a lot of rumors, been seeing a lot of different changes out there. Only consistent right now is Q-Rob, who's playing opposite of Q-Rob, is what I'm looking forward to finding out next week. I mean, after we get back from spring break. And then on the offensive side, key number 2, how is this run game being developed right now? I know the pass game is going to develop. I have full confidence in the pass game. Whatever quarterback ends up winning the job, I believe it's going to be Miro who's going to win the job. This pass game, how's it going to develop in the first phases once bodies start having to clash, start having to make reads? And I did get to see a slight second of some 11 on 11 yesterday. It was pretty intense. And it was fun, man. It was fun to see those guys flying around. So those are my 2 points, Kyle.
And we want to hear from you inside the Undefeated as well. What are 2 things that you're watching as we go further into spring football? I'm trying to think, like, right now, like, what is an emerging theme or things that I'm watching? And I continue to kind of circle back to that wide receiver room. What other wide receivers continue to stand out? And talk about a healthy balance of competition. Because this, I think, is like, you are absolutely loaded from the top to the bottom, and you still don't even have Ryan Williams on campus yet. Rico Scott is not here yet. So think about those guys are also coming in. So how is that cream? Think about that cream rising, right? Who is going to rise up from there? I want to continue to see the offensive line as well. What are we going to see from that tackle position? Who is going to battle for those spots? Who are we going to see across the board? Like your first 5 for the offensive line, because you said like the depth chart and who's rising from the edge rushers. But I think for me, it's like offensive line. I think that is such a critical area right now. And I do feel that from the short amount of time I've seen from Coach Kapilovic, I think, I'm really starting to like what I see. I wasn't there yesterday, so didn't get a chance to talk to him. But I'm eager to see more offensive line development because I think that is kind of a catalyst for this entire offense, right? Things cannot go if the trenches are not taken care of. And last year, I think Alabama certainly underperformed at the offensive line. We appreciate you guys being here, watching this video right here on Bama Football on YouTube. He's Coach Smook. My name is Kyle Henderson. My background changed for the week as I'm down here at the beach with my family. So I appreciate you guys running the thumbs up on all these videos. We have more videos coming, literally all the time, every day. So every single time you see a video, just go ahead and hit a thumbs up. We appreciate the super chat. You guys really support us right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Coach Smook does a great job. Think about this. He moved from Virginia to Tuscaloosa to follow his dream to cover the team. So definitely follow him and support him. And when we have Coach Sean on, same thing. Coach Jarek, same thing. When Jake gets back, same thing. And, of course, Ty, who plays our leadoff hitter during the week. And, of course, you can't forget about Taylor, our great producer, and really so much more, really the boss here at Bama Football on YouTube. So we appreciate you guys. Coach, you want to say a closing comment before we head to this basketball game?
Yeah, man. Shout out to the undefeated, man. Y'all know I always give y'all flowers every time I come on this screen. I was just talking with my mother this morning. You know, it's awesome to be a part of this team, a part of this family here. We do some big stuff, man. We do some huge things. And, you know, I want to give a personal shout out to Kyle. You know, yesterday, operating that whole little session by myself, trying to get all that, I saw the work that it takes to be able to do it at a high level. And I'm definitely, you know, trying to get, hey, Lacey.
Say hi.
Bro, she is growing up, man. I keep thinking, every time I think of Lacey, I think of the picture from like 4 years ago, bro. And I can't, it's like, I was about to say, T changed your hair.
So my mom, myself, and Caden, we are the early birds. We're like, you know, 5 in the do. And then you have Lacey, T, and Caden brought a friend. And that's kind of like the late riser crew. So it's all good, man. But like you're saying, T, like you're saying, Smook, I can only imagine, you know, how proud even your parents are of you, you know, just watching you like chase your dream. Your family is of you doing your thing. So we appreciate you guys, and we appreciate everybody right here in the Undefeated Men. Smook, he will be on call for any like commitments or anything that moves. I'm, of course, here. I have my setup here. So when you think Bama football news, think Bama Football on YouTube. We appreciate you guys. Just like in sleep, man, I sleep, eat, breathe what I do. It's just like I love it. And
3 o'clock this morning, bro, I was up doing it. So
but I mean, yeah. So you guys enjoy the basketball game, and we will catch up with you guys soon right here from beautiful Rosemary down here in Florida. He's Coach Smook up in Tuscaloosa, and we will catch you guys soon right here on the next video.
Roll Tide.